My name is Matthew, and I'm here representing the CEO and founder of TwelveEight Media. Also joining us over there, Cody, Seth, and Delomi, who all work here too. We're part of the business incubator program here at the CEP. So to start off, I'd like to say thank you for the CEP. Thank you for the CEP and the business incubator and A Million Cups of Coffee, all the organizers for getting this together and making this happen. And with that, we'll get on with it. Right, so what we do, TwelveEight Media, is we're, as a whole, a full-service content agency, meaning we provide content on all sorts of levels, from digital marketing to website development to mobile application development to virtual and augmented reality development, which the virtual and augmented reality development is going to be what we're going to be talking about, or what I'm going to be talking about today. Sorry, now you can hear me a lot better. All right, so to talk a little bit about virtual reality and augmented reality, just so you get an idea of what it is, just in case. Essentially, with virtual reality, we'll start there. In your lifetime, you're probably never going to get a chance to go to Mars. You probably won't swim in an Olympic race. You probably won't get to sing with the Rolling Stones. But with virtual reality, you're able to do that. You're able to be put in any sort of experience that you want, essentially. The sky's the limit. The only thing that limits you on that is computing power and content. What it does is it basically takes, you put on most of the time a headset, for example, this right here, whether it be a Oculus Rift, HTC Vive. You may have seen the Samsung Gear is the most, popular one right now because of pricing, or Google Daydream, Google Cardboard. And it essentially immerses you into whatever experience that you're going to want. So you interact with 3D worlds, 3D objects, and you can go in through multiple different environments. Next thing to talk about would be augmented reality, which, unlike virtual reality, instead of getting into an environment that completely immerses you, you are in your actual environment. So, for example, right here and right now, if I were to use, for example, the headset that they have on, the Microsoft HoloLens, or to take an iPad right now, because Apple just released their new developer program for augmented reality, and overlay 3D objects into your current environment. So, for example, if I am a 3D modeler and I'm working on a new fuel tank for a motorcycle, I'm able to take the designs that I'm doing right there and place it onto the motorcycle and see it in real time. And to elaborate a little bit further, most of the time we think of augmented virtual reality, you think of games. You think of Pokemon Go maybe, or for those of you who have Snapchat, something that augments, has face filters and changes the way certain things happen, I guess, with your face and whatnot, or different games and entertainment, movies. But what we do is we are untapping the potential for multiple markets and businesses. For example, medical, automotive, education. Those are the three biggest ones that right now that we're getting into, but it has unlimited potential as far as military applications, aviation, simulation purposes. Real estate. To talk a little bit about what we're currently doing, we're actually working right now with some top surgeons, specifically laparoscopic surgeons, in regards to providing both virtual and augmented reality for them to help with their day-to-day. Meaning, virtual reality, the best case scenario would be simulation, being able to educate themselves, educate students. So if I'm a surgeon, I can now go into virtual reality and perform a surgery that I'm about to do multiple times before I even have to get there. Not only that, but I can simulate problems that will go wrong during that surgery. With augmented reality, it's almost, we're taking MRI data and CT scan data, and basically allowing, for example, with laparoscopic surgery, minimally invasive, they go in, and it's essentially right now with them driving, I guess the best way to say driving with your lights off. You go in, they're able to see with the camera what very minimal amounts, knowing and having the experience doing it over and over again, they're obviously, hopefully able to have a successful procedure, but during that entire time, they either cut a blood vessel here, have to do a lot of maneuvering around to make sure that where they need to go, it takes some time. With this, we're able to take the MRI and CT scan data, essentially, and overlay it using spatial mapping cameras. Spatial mapping cameras. Is this on? Is this on? Okay, there we go. Spatial mapping cameras to overlay it with what they're doing live. So in clinical use, meaning they go in, we take the 3D data from the MRI, and we're able to point out, okay, well, this is where the gallbladder is. Here are blood vessels here. Here's where you're going to need to remove a cyst or a tumor that's right there, so that they're not going in blind, essentially. The other thing that we're heavily into right now is the education field, especially in the sense of using iPads, for example. Imagine if you're a student or you're a teacher and you want to take your class on a field trip. You want to take them to go see the Sistine Chapel. Well, you're going to need a pretty big budget for that. But with virtual reality, you don't need that huge budget. You're literally able to go and experience all that, being able to look at all the beautiful artworks, being able to go interact with certain different things there. With augmented reality, I flip open my textbook as a student, and I also have my iPad sitting there right next to me. We're going through a lesson with the teacher. I'm in history class. I point my iPad at the textbook or at the board, and all of a sudden, a picture, the painting of the Mona Lisa pops up, an interactive guide, something that brings them through each lesson. So you're no longer just stuck to the textbook, you're able to bring out interactivity with that. And essentially, those are the two main things that we're heavily into right now, but also getting into all the other markets such as real estate and the automotive industry. So as much time as we have for this, there's not nearly enough time to talk about everything in regards to virtual reality and augmented reality. There's 360-degree videos. There's the whole entire market with social media and incorporating the smaller version of Samsung Gear. There's mixed reality, which is a combination of both augmented and virtual reality. That being said, the biggest thing, and I obviously, as you can tell, missed the class on public speaking, but the biggest way we're able to show you is by literally showing you. We'll be here after a million cups of coffee if you want to come in. We have an office right here. Have an office right here that you're able to go in if you want to experience a little bit of virtual or augmented reality and talk about it a little bit further. One-on-one, more than welcome to. And yeah, any questions?